The sound comes first. A sharp crack of something dropping, plastic against marble, followed by a small gasp. Amara turns too late. Nia's pink teddy bear lies on the mall floor between polished shoes and rushing feet, one button eye staring up at the ceiling lights. The crowd keeps moving. No one notices. No one ever notices the small things until it's too late. Nia, Amara says, already reaching. But her daughter doesn't move. She's staring. Frozen. Her small fingers curl slowly, as if her body knows danger before her mind does. Amara follows her gaze across the open atrium, and the world narrows to a single point. A man stands on the opposite side of the railing. He isn't rushing. He isn't searching. He's already found what he's looking for. His eyes lock onto Nia's. Gold. Not brown. Not hazel. Not light-catching trickery. Gold. The exact same unnatural gold that stares back from Amara's daughter's face every morning. The same eyes Amara once traced with her thumb in a dark apartment years ago, whispering promises she didn't keep. Her breath leaves her lungs in a soundless rush. No. Not here. Not now. Nia, she whispers sharply. Come here. Now. The mall hums around them, music pulsing softly, a fountain murmuring below, laughter echoing from somewhere too far away. Normal life. Safe life. The lie Amara has built brick by brick. The man starts walking. Not fast. Never fast. Each step is measured, controlled, like the space between them belongs to him already. Shoppers part without realizing why. People glance at him, then away, instincts brushing against something they don't want to name. Amara pulls Nia back hard enough that the child stumbles. She scoops her up, teddy bear forgotten, and turns, only to find her path blocked by a pillar, a kiosk, too many bodies. Her heart slams. 6 exits. She counted them when they entered. She always counts. But counting doesn't help when fear shortens distance. Mommy, Nia whispers into her shoulder. Why are you shaking? I'm not, Amara lies, gripping tighter. Her palm is slick with sweat. Her chest hurts. Just close your eyes. But Nia doesn't. Children never do. The man stops an arm's length away. Up close, he's worse. Tall. Impeccably dressed. A face carved from discipline and restraint. There's no anger in his expression. No smile. Just focus. As if the rest of the world has dimmed and only one truth remains. His gaze moves from Amara to the child in her arms. And then the mall disappears. There is a silence so deep it feels physical, like pressure on the ears before a storm breaks. Even the fountain seems to hush. Even the music fades into a dull, distant echo. He speaks into that silence. Low. Calm. Devastating. Your daughter, he says, has my eyes. The words land and everything fractures. Amara feels it in her bones, in the place where fear and rage meet and twist together. Her mouth opens, but nothing comes out at first. The world tilts. The past surges forward, uninvited. Nia shifts, peering at the man with open curiosity. They're gold, Nia says softly. Like mine. Amara snaps back to herself. Don't talk to him. The man's jaw tightens, just a fraction. He crouches slightly, lowering himself to Nia's level, hands open, non-threatening. Amara takes a step back. Stay away from her, she says. Her voice shakes despite her effort. You don't get to look at her. You don't get to say anything about her. His eyes flick to Amara now, and something sharp passes through them, recognition, pain, something unfinished. Amara, he says. Her name in his mouth feels like a violation. Stop, she snaps. Say it again and I scream. He doesn't flinch. Instead, he glances past her shoulder. At the reflections in the glass storefronts. At the angles of the crowd. At the man pretending to scroll on his phone near the escalator. At the woman who isn't shopping, just watching. Amara notices too late. Her stomach drops. The man straightens. You shouldn't have brought her here. Don't you dare, Amara says. You don't get to tell me where my child. They know about her. The sentence is quiet. Final. Amara's mouth goes dry. Who? He doesn't answer immediately. That pause, measured, deliberate, is worse than any word. That pause is a countdown. Nia clutches Amara's jacket. Mommy? Amara swallows. Her throat burns. What do you mean, they know about her? The man's gaze never leaves the child. You have less time than you think. Around them, life continues. A couple laughs as they pass. Someone bumps Amara's elbow and mutters an apology. A security guard walks by without slowing. No one hears the clock start ticking. Amara's pulse roars in her ears. If this is some sick game. It isn't, he says. And if you walk away right now, they will follow you. Silence again. He lets it stretch. Let's fear do the work. Nia tilts her head. Do I know you? The man inhales slowly, like he's bracing himself. No, he says. But I know you. Amara tightens her grip, nails biting into her own skin. She looks around desperately, searching for help, for reason, for anything solid. Her phone vibrates in her pocket. Once. She doesn't check it. The man speaks again, softer now, but no less dangerous. If something happens to her because you refuse to listen, you will never forgive yourself. That's the cut. Not fear. Not threat. Guilt. Amara feels it slice clean and deep. Nia's small fingers press against her neck. Mommy, you're breathing funny. Amara closes her eyes for half a second. If you're listening to this story right now, if you've ever loved someone smaller than you, someone who trusted you completely, this is where you lean in. Because what Amara chooses next is the kind of choice that stays with you. The kind you replay at 3 a.m. The kind you don't get to redo. She opens her eyes. What do you want? She demands. The man's gaze lifts to hers. To keep her alive. Amara's phone vibrates again. This time, she looks. Unknown number. One message. We see her. Her blood turns to ice. She looks up. The man is already watching her reaction. And somewhere in the crowd, someone starts moving toward them. Amara doesn't answer him right away. The mall noise rushes back in uneven waves, a burst of laughter from a food court table, the squeal of sneakers against tile, an announcement crackling overhead about a seasonal sale. Too normal. Too wrong. Her heart is still hammering from the message on her phone, the words burned into the back of her eyes. We see her. She locks the screen without replying and lifts her chin. You're lying, she says. This is intimidation. Whatever you're trying to pull, it ends now. The man watches her carefully, as if measuring how much truth she can withstand before she breaks. His expression doesn't change, but something in his posture settles, grounded and immovable. I don't lie about children, he says. That doesn't make you trustworthy, Amara snaps. She shifts Nia higher on her hip, angling her body to block him. You don't get to walk back into my life and pretend you're some kind of warning system. I'm not pretending. Then disappear, she says. Do what you should have done years ago. For a moment, something flickers in his eyes, regret, sharp and fast, like a blade catching light. Then it's gone. I won't, he says simply. The certainty in his voice sends a chill up her spine. Not arrogance. Not defiance. Decision. Nia squirms, peeking around Amara's shoulder. Mommy, she whispers, he looks like he knows where we're going. Amara's throat tightens. He doesn't. But the man's gaze shifts again, scanning the upper level, the mirrored columns, the slow-moving line near the escalator. He doesn't look worried. He looks alert. You came here for shoes, he says, not asking. The purple ones with the lights. Nia's eyes widen. How did you know that? Amara stiffens. Stop. You parked on level 3, he continues calmly. Near the elevator with the broken button. That's when denial cracks. Not shatters, Amara is too practiced for that, but fractures enough to let cold air seep in. She feels it along her arms, prickling her skin. She forces her voice to stay steady. You followed us, she says. That's all. Anyone could've. He finally meets her eyes fully now. The gold in them is unmistakable, but there's something darker beneath it. Wait, consequence. I noticed her first, he says. That's the problem. Amara's grip tightens involuntarily. You keep saying things like that as if they're explanations. They're not, he replies. They're warnings. She shakes her head. I'm not listening to this. You don't get to rewrite the past because you feel something now. He exhales through his nose, slow and controlled. I'm not here for the past. Good, she says. Then leave. The word hangs between them. He doesn't move. Shoppers stream around them, close enough that Amara can smell perfume, fried food, someone's coffee breath. A woman brushes past, glancing at them briefly before looking away. To everyone else, this is nothing. A tense conversation. A disagreement. A family moment gone awkward. Only Amara can feel the pressure building, like a storm front pressing low. Nia slides down from her arms, standing between them before Amara can stop her. She picks up her dropped teddy bear, hugging it to her chest. You're making mommy upset, Nia says, not accusing, just stating a fact. The man's gaze drops to her, and his face softens in a way that catches Amara off guard. Not a smile. Something quieter. Careful. I'm sorry, he says. That wasn't my intention. Nia studies him. Are you mad at us? No. Are you one of the bad guys? Amara sucks in a breath. Nia. The man answers anyway. I'm trying not to be. Nia considers that, serious as only children can be. Mommy says people can choose. Amara's chest aches. Nia, come back here. But Nia doesn't move. If you know things, she says to the man, why didn't you help before? The question lands hard. Amara watches his reaction closely, too closely. His jaw tightens, muscles shifting under his skin. He looks away for a fraction of a second, toward the ceiling lights, as if studying himself. That's a fair question, he says quietly. Answer it, Amara says. He looks back at her. Because I didn't know. Silence settles again, thinner this time, stretched taut. You expect me to believe that? Amara asks. That you just missed 6 years of her life? Yes. Convenient. It's devastating, he replies. There's a difference. Nia hugs her teddy tighter. I'm 6, she offers, as if clarifying something important. I know, he says, and Amara hates the way his voice warms around the number. She steps forward, placing herself squarely between them. Enough. We're leaving. You shouldn't go alone, he says. I didn't ask for your advice. And I didn't come to give advice. His gaze flicks again, to the man near the escalator, now pretending to tie his shoe. To a woman leaning too casually against a directory. To reflections that don't quite line up. Amara feels it then, the same sensation she had moments ago. That tightening in her chest. That instinctive pull inward. What aren't you saying, she asks. He hesitates. Just long enough to matter. There are people, he says slowly, who believe leverage is cleaner than conversation. Amara's pulse spikes. Speak plainly. They don't care who I am to her, he says. They care what she is. Nia frowns. I'm a kid. He nods. Exactly. Amara's phone vibrates again. Twice. She doesn't look this time. She doesn't need to. Why are you still here, she demands. If you're so worried, why not call the police? Because they won't see what I see, he says. And because once they do, it's already too late. That's paranoid. That's experience. A group of teenagers runs past, laughing, nearly colliding with Nia. The man's hand moves instinctively, hovering near the child without touching. Protective. Immediate. Amara notices. Her stomach twists. Don't, she warns. I won't disappear, he says softly, meeting her gaze. Not today. Then you're forcing this. Yes. The word is calm. Unapologetic. Amara feels something dangerous shift inside her, not surrender, not trust, but the terrifying recognition that he might be right about one thing. They aren't alone. From the corner of her eye, she sees the man by the escalator straighten, his phone now lifted, lens angled just slightly too precisely in their direction. The woman by the directory steps away from the wall. And the mall's announcement system clicks on again, the cheerful voice echoing overhead, oblivious. Amara pulls Nia close. If you're lying, she says under her breath, I will destroy you. The man doesn't look away from the approaching figures. If I am, he replies, you won't get the chance. And somewhere behind them, footsteps begin to match their pace. The first time Amara meets him, she doesn't know his name. She only knows the way the room shifts when he enters it. It's a fundraiser in Seoul, glass walls, soft music, donors laughing too loudly over champagne. Amara is there on a temporary visa, chasing a lead that feels too thin to be real and too dangerous to ignore. She's supposed to blend in, smile, take notes, disappear. Then she feels it. That same pressure she feels now in the mall. The awareness before sight. She turns, and there he is. Standing near the windows, hands folded loosely at his back, listening more than speaking. He doesn't look like a criminal. He looks like a man who owns time. People angle their bodies toward him without realizing it. Their eyes meet. Gold. Not the sharp, predatory gold she would later learn to recognize, but something warmer than. Curious. Measuring. He approaches her, not rushed, not smooth. Just direct. You're not one of them, he says, gesturing vaguely at the donors. She lifts her glass. And you are? He almost smiles. Unfortunately. That's how it starts. Not with danger. Not with fear. With conversation that stretches too long, laughter she doesn't expect, a sense, unsettling and intoxicating, that he sees her clearly. They talk about nothing important at first. Music. Cities. The weight of expectation. He never lies to her, not outright. He just edits himself carefully, like a man who has survived by omission. When she finally learns his name, Han Jun-suk, it's from someone else's whisper. When she learns what he truly is, it's by accident. A door she shouldn't open. Voices she shouldn't hear. Men who don't flinch when he speaks. The way the air tightens around him when he's angry. Guns hidden where art should be. That's when love curdles into terror. That's when she runs. In the mall, Amara's breath stutters as the memory collides with the present. She stands rigid, Nia pressed against her side, the hum of danger vibrating under her skin. Han Jun-suk, because that's his name, no matter how hard she's tried to bury it, watches her with the same unreadable focus he always had. You're remembering, he says quietly. Don't, she snaps. You don't get to drag that back into my life. You never let me explain. There was nothing to explain, she says. I saw enough. His jaw tightens. You saw part of it. That was enough to know my child would never be safe near you. The word child hangs in the air, heavier than everything else. Nia looks up between them. Is that when you met Mommy? Amara closes her eyes for a beat. Nia, this isn't. Yes, Han says gently. That's when I met her. Nia's brow furrows. Before I was born? Amara's stomach drops. He looks at the child, then back at Amara. Something passes between them, an unspoken acknowledgement of a truth that has waited too long. Yes, he says. Before. Nia nods slowly, absorbing this. So you knew Mommy a long time ago. Yes. Did you like her? Amara's heart pounds. Han doesn't answer right away. His gaze flicks to the movement near the escalator, to the reflections that don't belong. The present refuses to wait for the past. I still do, he says. Amara feels heat rise behind her eyes. Stop. I didn't know about you, he says to Nia, then looks back at Amara. That's the first secret. Her chest tightens. Don't call it that. I would have known, he insists. If I'd had any indication. You would have done what? She cuts in. Pulled us into your world? Surrounded us with men who think violence is language? I would have protected you. She laughs, sharp and brittle. You don't protect. You control. His eyes darken. Sometimes that's the only option the world gives you. Nia hugs her teddy bear, sensing the shift. Mommy ran away, she says thoughtfully, as if piecing together a puzzle. That's why we don't stay in one place too long. Amara freezes. Han's gaze snaps to her. You move? She tightens her grip on Nia's shoulder. That's none of your business. It is now. Why? Nia asks. Because of bad people? Amara swallows hard. Because Mommy made a choice. Han steps closer, lowering his voice. They didn't find you by accident. That lands like a blow. I buried everything, Amara whispers. I changed names. Cities. Jobs. You kept one thing, he says softly. She knows what he means before he says it. Her eyes, he continues. You couldn't hide those. Nia looks between them. I like my eyes. Amara forces a smile. I know, baby. The mall announcement system clicks again. A cheerful voice reminds shoppers of closing hours for certain stores. Time keeps moving. It always does. Han leans in just enough that only Amara can hear him. Someone from my world saw her. That's the second secret. Her pulse races. When? Today. Fear quails tight in her chest. You're sure? Yes. She glances around, her instincts screaming now. The past isn't a memory anymore. It's a weapon pointed at her present. Nia tugs her sleeve. Mommy, why are you scared? Amara crouches, brushing Nia's hair back with shaking fingers. I'm not scared. I'm thinking. Han straightens, scanning the crowd again. His shoulders square, a subtle shift that speaks of readiness. You ran to save her, he says quietly. That part worked. And now? Amara asks. His gaze hardens. Now the danger has caught up. A shadow moves too close behind them. A voice murmurs into a phone. The air tightens. Han looks back at Amara. Do you trust me enough to listen? He asks. Before she can answer, Nia speaks, small and clear. Mommy, she says, the man over there keeps looking at us. Amara turns. And realizes the past isn't done colliding yet. The man by the escalator isn't subtle anymore. He's too close now. Close enough that Amara can see the faint reflection of them in his phone screen, angled just enough to capture Nia's face. Another figure shifts near the directory. A third pauses by a jewelry kiosk, pretending to browse. 3 points. A loose triangle. Surveillance. Amara's breath shortens. They're watching us, she whispers. Han doesn't ask who. I know, he says. The mall feels different suddenly. Narrower. The ceiling presses lower, the open atrium no longer open at all. The crowd that once felt like protection now feels like cover for something darker. Too many bodies, too many places to hide intent. Nia presses closer to Amara's leg. Mommy, she murmurs, I don't like this game. It's not a game, Amara says softly, brushing Nia's hair back. Her hand trembles despite her effort. Stay with me. Han steps slightly to the side, not in front of them, but close enough that his presence blocks one angle of approach. It's instinctive. Protective. He doesn't touch them, but he positions himself like a barrier. Amara notices. Her chest tightens. I didn't ask you to do that. I know, he replies. But I won't stop. The man by the escalator lifts his phone higher. That's when Han moves. It's fast. Too fast for Amara to process at first. He steps forward, directly into the stranger's path, his shoulder colliding just enough to disrupt the phone's angle. The phone clatters to the floor. "Oh, sorry," Han says smoothly, already crouching to pick it up. The man stiffens. His eyes flick up, calculating. "Watch where you're going." Han hands him the phone, his fingers brushing the man's wrist just long enough to feel the tension there. The man snatches it back, muttering, and retreats, but not far. Never far. Han turns back to Amara. "We're leaving," he says. "No," she snaps. "We're going to security." "That's predictable." "So is kidnapping," she shoots back. Han's gaze flicks again, to the directory woman, now clearly watching, to the jewelry kiosk where a man has stopped pretending to browse. His jaw tightens. "They won't act here," Amara insists. "Too many witnesses." "They don't need to act," Han replies. "They need to follow." Nia looks up at him. "Follow us where?" Han crouches again, bringing himself level with her. His voice softens. "Somewhere quieter." Amara's pulse spikes. "Absolutely not." Han straightens. "Amara, listen to me. Public spaces don't protect you and the people watching don't care about consequences." "And you do?" she demands. "Yes," he says without hesitation. The mall announcement system clicks on again, but this time the voice cracks slightly, distorted. A ripple of unease moves through the crowd. People glance around, frowning. The woman by the directory starts walking straight toward them. Han's hand lifts, not touching Amara, not touching Nia, but hovering close enough that she feels the heat of his presence. "Trust me for 30 seconds, he says quietly. "That's all I'm asking." "I don't trust you at all." "Then trust your instincts," he counters. They're screaming. She hates that he's right. The woman closes the distance. Too calm. Too focused. Her eyes flick to Nia, then back to Amara. "Excuse me," she says, smiling thinly. "Is this your child?" Amara's heart slams. "Yes." The woman's smile doesn't reach her eyes. "She's adorable. I think she dropped something earlier." Han steps in smoothly. "She didn't." The woman's gaze sharpens. "I wasn't talking to you." Han meets her stare, unblinking. "You are now." For a split second, something ugly flashes across the woman's face. Calculation. Annoyance. Then she shrugs lightly. "Just trying to help," she says, already stepping back into the flow of the crowd. Han doesn't relax. Neither does Amara. Nia clutches her teddy bear tighter. "Mommy, my tummy feels funny." Amara crouches immediately. Okay. Okay. "We're going." She doesn't say it to Han. She says it to herself. They start moving. Han doesn't ask permission. He falls into step beside them, guiding with subtle shifts of his body rather than words. Left instead of right. Slow down here. Speed up there. Amara resents every second of it, and follows anyway. The exits feel farther now. The escalators too exposed. The elevators too small. A sudden shout erupts behind them. Someone bumps into Amara hard enough that she stumbles. Han's hand shoots out, gripping her elbow, steadying her before she falls. "Don't touch me," she snaps automatically. But she doesn't pull away. The crowd surges, a wave of bodies pressing toward a store entrance. A security alarm wails briefly, then cuts off. Confusion ripples outward. Han leans close. They're creating noise. Amara's mouth goes dry. Why? To mask movement. Her phone vibrates again. Once. Twice. She doesn't look. Han glances over her shoulder, his expression sharpening. "We can't go to the car." "Why?" "They know where it is." Her chest tightens. "How?" "You park the same way every time," he says. Level 3. Near the broken button. Nia looks up. That button never works. I know, Han says gently. Amara's pulse races. Then where are we going? Han scans quickly. Service corridor. North wing. There's a maintenance exit. You planned this, she accuses. I prepared for possibilities, he corrects. A man breaks from the crowd behind them, moving too fast, eyes locked on Nia. Han reacts instantly, stepping back, blocking, his presence sudden and solid. Now, he says sharply. Amara doesn't argue. She runs. They duck past a closed storefront, slip through an unmarked door just as someone shouts behind them. The noise of the mall drops away, replaced by the hum of machinery and the echo of their own breathing. The corridor smells like cleaning chemicals and metal. The floor is scuffed, the lights harsh and unforgiving. Nia whimpers. Mommy, I'm scared. Amara scoops her up, breath ragged. I know, baby. I know. Han pulls the door shut, holding it for a beat longer than necessary, listening. Footsteps pass. Voices murmur. He exhales slowly. We have maybe 5 minutes, he says. Less if they regroup. Amara glares at him. You had no right. I know, he says. But we're alive. For now, she spits. Nia looks between them, eyes wide and golden. Are we hiding? Yes, Han answers before Amara can. Just for a little while. Nia nods solemnly. Okay. Amara's heart aches at her trust, at how easily it's being tested. Han glances down the corridor, then back at Amara. They won't stop now. She swallows hard. Neither will I. He studies her for a moment, something like respect flickering across his face. Good, he says. Because the next move won't be optional. Behind the door they came through, a handle rattles. Someone tries it once. Then again, harder. The metal door shudders. And the countdown gets louder. The corridor door rattles again, harder this time. Metal vibrates under the impact, a hollow clang echoing down the narrow passage. Nia flinches, burying her face into Amara's shoulder. Amara's arms tighten around her automatically, her body angling to shield without thinking. Han steps closer to the door, one hand braced against it, listening. His breathing is steady. Too steady. Like this isn't the first time he's measured danger by sound alone. Maintenance corridor, he murmurs. They won't force it yet. Too many variables. Amara's heart pounds. You sound sure. I am. That's what scares me. Another thud. Then voices, muffled, irritated. Someone laughs softly, like this is an inconvenience, not a risk. Han glances back at Amara. We need to move again. No, she says immediately. We're done running in circles. You dragged us in here without asking, without explaining. I'll explain now. She hesitates, chest heaving. Nia lifts her head slightly, eyes wet. Mommy, she whispers, is he a police? Han almost smiles. Almost. No, he says. I'm not. Amara's jaw tightens. Then start talking. Han scans the corridor, then gestures toward a recessed alcove beside a stack of cleaning carts. Out of direct sight. Out of the main echo path. They move quickly. Han positions himself at the edge of the alcove, body angled outward, a quiet sentry. Amara notices again how naturally he takes that role, how little effort it costs him. She hates how useful it is. You said you didn't lie about children, she says. So don't start now. I won't, Han replies. He exhales slowly, as if setting something heavy down. My name is Han Jun-suk. I don't own companies. I don't run charities. Those are masks. Nia tilts her head. Like costumes? Yes, he says gently. Exactly like that. Amara's voice is tight. And underneath? Underneath, he continues, I control routes. People. Information. I decide who gets protected and who gets erased. Silence fills the alcove. Even the rattling at the door seems to fade, as if the building itself is listening. Amara feels cold spread through her limbs. You're saying this like you expect me to accept it. I'm saying it because you deserve to know who is standing next to your child. Nia clutches her teddy bear. Erased sounds bad. Han's gaze softens immediately. It is. Do you erase people? She asks. Amara's breath catches. Nia. Han answers anyway. I have. The honesty lands harder than any lie could have. Amara's hands shake. You don't get to confess like this and think it fixes anything. I'm not fixing, he says. I'm exposing. She laughs quietly, a sound edged with disbelief. That's the second secret, then. You're not just dangerous. You're powerful. Yes. And you expect me to trust that power around her? She gestures sharply to Nia. No, Han says. I expect you to fear it. Nia frowns. Mommy, are we in trouble because of him? Amara's chest tightens painfully. She crouches, brushing Nia's hair back with trembling fingers. We're in trouble because some people make bad choices. Han watches the interaction closely. Something shifts in his expression, something raw, unguarded. They're not after you because of me, he says quietly. They're after her because she exists. Amara looks up sharply. Explain. He meets her gaze. There are men who measure value in leverage. Bloodlines matter to them. Symbols matter. A child with my eyes is a message. A message to who? Amara demands. To anyone who wants to hurt me without touching me. The words settle heavily. Nia hugs her teddy tighter. I don't want to be a message. Han crouches again, lowering himself to her level, careful to keep distance. You're not, he says firmly. You're a person. And no one gets to use you. She studies his face. You promise? His throat tightens visibly. Yes. Amara feels anger surge. You don't get to promise her anything. I already have, he replies softly. By standing here. The corridor lights flicker. Amara's phone vibrates again, this time longer, insistently. She pulls it out before she can stop herself. Unknown number. Another message appears. 2 minutes. Her blood runs cold. Han sees her reaction instantly. They're escalating. You knew this would happen, she accuses. I knew it might, he says. That's the third secret. She stares at him. What aren't you telling me? He hesitates. Just long enough. The people following us, he says slowly, aren't freelancers. Amara's stomach drops. Meaning? They have access, he continues. Resources. Planning. Whose? He doesn't answer immediately. His gaze flicks toward the rattling door, toward the corridor beyond, toward the invisible web closing around them. Mine, he says at last. The word lands like a gunshot. Nia gasps softly. Your friends? No, Han says immediately. Not my friends. Amara's voice is barely a whisper. Your people. Yes. The moral line snaps into focus, brutal and unavoidable. You brought your war to my child, Amara says, her voice shaking with fury. You are the danger. Han nods once. I know. And you still came near us? Yes. Why? His eyes lift to Nia again. Gold meeting gold. Because once they knew about her, he says, distance stopped being protection. Silence presses in. The door rattles violently now. Someone slams a shoulder against it. Metal groans. Nia presses her face into Amara's chest. Mommy, make it stop. Amara's heart breaks. Han straightens abruptly, decision hardening his posture. We're out of time. You said we had 5 minutes, Amara snaps. That was before the message. Another impact. Louder. The doorframe creaks. Han reaches into his jacket and pulls out a small device, sleek, black, unfamiliar. He presses a button. Somewhere nearby, a faint beep answers. What is that? Amara asks. A distraction, he says. And our exit. Her eyes widen. You planned this. I prepared, he corrects. Nia peeks out. Is it like a fire drill? Something like that, Han says gently. Amara's mind races. Trust him and step deeper into his world, or stay and let that world crush them anyway. The countdown ticks in her head. 2 minutes. 1. The door buckles inward. Han looks at Amara, his voice low and urgent. If you come with me now, I can keep her alive. And if I don't? The door dents, metal screaming. Han doesn't look away. Then I lose her. And you lose everything. Amara's grip tightens around Nia. She makes her choice. Move, she says. Han doesn't smile. He turns and runs. The door explodes inward. Metal screams. Hinges tear loose. The sound ricochets down the corridor like a gunshot, sharp and final. Han doesn't look back. He moves fast, one hand gripping Amara's wrist, the other steadying Nia against his side as they sprint down the service passage. The lights blur overhead, harsh and flickering, the smell of oil and chemicals burning Amara's throat. Run, he says once. Not loud. Certain. They turn a corner just as footsteps thunder behind them. Shouts echo, short, clipped commands, disciplined. Not panicked. Not rushed. Trained. That realization hits Amara harder than fear. These aren't opportunists. They burst through a maintenance door into a loading bay. Cold air slams into Amara's lungs. A delivery truck idles nearby, engine rumbling low. Han doesn't hesitate. He yanks the rear door open and shoves them inside. Stay down, he orders. The door slams shut. Darkness swallows them, broken only by thin slivers of light through metal seams. The truck lurches forward moments later, tires squealing as it pulls out. Amara presses Nia to the floor, covering her body instinctively. Nia trembles but doesn't cry. Her small fingers clutch Amara's sleeve with surprising strength. Han braces himself against the wall as the truck turns sharply. His breathing is controlled, his face set, but his eyes flick inward now, calculating. Amara notices. What? She demands, voice low. What aren't you saying now? Han doesn't answer immediately. That pause, too long, too heavy, tells her everything. They knew where to position themselves, he says finally. They moved before I acted. Her chest tightens. Meaning? Meaning, he replies, someone gave them permission. The words settle in the dark like poison. Permission from who? Amara asks. Han closes his eyes for half a second. From inside, he says. Silence follows. Not the charged silence of danger, but something colder. Something that fractures trust at its core. Nia shifts, peeking up at him. Does that mean someone you know is bad? Han opens his eyes and looks at her. Yes. Like a traitor? She asks. Amara stiffens at the word. Han nods slowly. Like that. Amara's pulse pounds. You told me this was about outsiders. Enemies. It was, he says. Until today. The truck slows, then turns again. Voices murmur faintly through the metal walls outside. The driver speaks into a radio, too calm, too steady. Han's jaw tightens. That's not one of mine, he mutters. Amara's breath catches. Then who? The truck stops abruptly. The engine cuts. Silence drops like a blade. Han raises a finger, signaling quiet. He shifts closer to the door, listening. Amara can hear her own heartbeat pounding in her ears, Nia's breath shallow and fast. Footsteps approach. One set. Then another. A knock raps against the metal door. Controlled. Deliberate. Han, a voice calls from outside. Familiar. Calm. Almost respectful. Come out. Let's talk. Amara watches Han's face change. Not fear. Recognition. Her stomach drops. You know him. Yes, Han says quietly. Who is it? He exhales slowly. Someone I trusted. Nia squeezes Amara's hand. Mommy, I don't like this part. Amara swallows hard. Me neither, baby. The knock comes again. Louder. Time's running out, the voice says. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Han straightens. His shoulders square. The air around him seems to sharpen. This is where it ends, he murmurs, not to the voice outside, but to himself. Amara grabs his sleeve. What are you doing? He looks down at her, eyes steady. Fixing my mistake. You're not going out there, she whispers fiercely. I am. They'll kill you. Maybe, he says. But they won't touch her. That's not a guarantee. It is, he replies. Because she's the reason this betrayal matters. Nia looks up at him, eyes wide and golden in the darkness. Are you leaving? Han kneels in front of her, lowering himself slowly, deliberately. He doesn't touch her, but he's close enough that she can see every line of his face. I need you to listen to me, he says gently. Nia nods. No matter what happens next, he continues, you stay with your mother. You do exactly what she says. Nia's lip trembles. Are you coming back? Han's throat tightens visibly. He doesn't answer right away. That silence is the answer. Amara's chest aches. Don't do this, she whispers. Han stands. If I don't, they'll keep coming. This won't stop. The voice outside speaks again, closer now. Last chance, Han. Han steps toward the door. Amara's anger flares, sharp and desperate. You dragged us into this. You don't get to decide how it ends. He pauses, hand hovering near the latch. You're right, he says. That's the fourth secret. She stiffens. What? I didn't come here just to warn you, he continues quietly. I came because this was always going to happen. Her blood runs cold. Explain. There was a fracture forming long before today, he says. I ignored it. I thought control would hold. And now? And now, he replies, my world is eating itself. The knock turns into a kick. The door dents inward. Nia cries out softly. Han moves fast, unlatching the door just as it buckles again. He throws it open. And the loading bay floods with light. Men stand outside, 4 of them, armed, composed. At their center is the voice's owner, tall, impeccably dressed, eyes sharp with familiarity. Han, the man says with a faint smile. You should have trusted me. Han steps out, positioning himself fully between the men and the truck. I did, he replies. That was the problem. The man's gaze flicks briefly past him, toward the dark interior of the truck. Toward Amara. Toward Nia. Then back to Han. You chose the child, the man says. Over everything we built. Han doesn't hesitate. Yes. Something hardens in the other man's eyes. Then this ends now. Time slows. Amara pulls Nia back, heart hammering. Han doesn't move. He stands there, still as stone, as the men raise their weapons. And in the space before sound returns, the countdown hits 0. The first gunshot never comes. That's what surprises Amara most. She braces for it, muscles locking, breath caught, body already folding over Nia, but the moment stretches instead, taut and unbearable. The men outside the truck hold their weapons steady, fingers poised, waiting. Waiting for permission. The man at the center lifts one hand. Lower them, he says calmly. The guns dip, not all the way, but enough to signal control. Absolute control. Han doesn't turn around. He doesn't look back at Amara or Nia. He keeps his eyes on the man in front of him, his voice steady. Kong, he says. So that's his name. Kong smiles faintly, like he's pleased to be recognized. You always did hate surprises. Amara's heart hammers. She presses Nia closer, every instinct screaming to run, but there's nowhere to go. The loading bay yawns wide and exposed. The truck is a thin shell. Han is the only thing standing between them and the men with guns. Kong steps closer, hands relaxed at his sides. He looks nothing like a villain. No scars. No menace in his posture. Just a man in a tailored coat, eyes sharp with intelligence. He glances past Han, briefly, to the truck. To Nia. Interest flickers there. Calculating. Assessing. Amara feels sick. You didn't have to bring her here, Kong says mildly. This could have stayed clean. Han's jaw tightens. There was nothing clean about this. Kong chuckles softly. That's where we disagree. He circles slightly, keeping Han between himself and the truck, but always aware of what's inside. His men adjust subtly, widening their positions, cutting off angles Amara didn't even know were there. You built something extraordinary, Kong continues. Power that didn't need noise. Influence without chaos. And then you let sentiment rot it from the inside. Han doesn't respond. You hid her, Kong says, his tone almost curious. For years. Even from yourself. Amara's breath catches. That wasn't your secret to keep, Kong adds. Han's voice is low. You crossed a line. Kong stops walking. His expression cools. There are no lines. Only assets. Nia shifts in Amara's arms. Mommy, she whispers, he's talking about me like I'm a thing. Amara's throat tightens painfully. She presses her lips to Nia's hair. I know, baby. Han hears it. Something in him changes. It's subtle, but Amara sees it, the final hardening, the quiet resolve settling into place. The man who has calculated risks all his life reaches the edge of calculation. You authorized surveillance, Han says. You moved people without my approval. Kong shrugs. You were distracted. By my child. Yes, Kong says smoothly. And that's the problem. He steps closer, close enough that Amara can see the fine lines at the corners of his eyes, the calm certainty there. You're compromised, Kong continues. Which means the organization is compromised. Which means I had to act. You tried to take her, Han says. I tried to secure leverage, Kong corrects. There's a difference. Han laughs once, sharply. You think you can hold a knife to a child's throat and still call it strategy? Kang's gaze hardens. I think you forgot what this world costs. The air vibrates with tension. No one moves. Even the men with guns seem to sense that something irreversible is approaching. Amara's phone vibrates in her pocket again. She doesn't check it. She already knows what it says. Time is gone. Han takes one step forward. This ends now. Kong sighs, almost regretful. It already has. He lifts his hand again. This time, not to signal restraint, but command. Two of the men shift, angling toward the truck. Amara's heart slams into her ribs. No! Han moves instantly, stepping sideways, blocking the line of sight, spreading his arms just enough to make himself a barrier. She doesn't belong to you, he says, his voice carrying across the bay. Kong tilts his head. Neither do you anymore. Silence stretches. Then Kong speaks again, quieter now, meant only for Han. Step aside, he says. Walk away. I'll make sure they disappear cleanly. New names. New lives. She won't even remember today. Amara stares at Han's back, terror and fury twisting together. Han doesn't turn. You're asking me to trade her life, he says, for my comfort. I'm offering you survival. Han shakes his head slowly. That stopped mattering the moment I saw her eyes. Kang's patience snaps. Do you have any idea what you're destroying? He demands. 15 years of control. Loyalty. Power. You think the world will forgive you for tearing it apart? Han finally turns his head slightly, just enough to glance back at the truck. At Amara. At Nia's wide, golden eyes staring back at him. Yes, he says quietly. I do. Nia looks at him, voice small but steady. Are you mad at us? Han swallows hard. No. Are you leaving again? The question hits like a blade. Han closes his eyes for a fraction of a second. Then he opens them and makes his choice. No, he says. Not this time. He turns back to Kong. You wanted leverage, Han says. Here it is. Kang's brow furrows. What are you talking about? Han reaches into his jacket slowly, deliberately. The men tense, weapons lifting. But he doesn't pull a gun. He pulls out his phone. Amara watches, confused, breathless. Han unlocks it, taps once, then tosses it onto the concrete between them. Every account, he says. Every route. Every name. Every secret you've been protecting. Kang's eyes widen slightly despite himself. Han's voice is steady, resolute. I sent it all. Silence crashes down, heavy and absolute. Kang stares at the phone, then back at Han. You wouldn't. I did, Han says. 5 minutes ago. Amara's mind reels. Kang's expression twists, fury bleeding through his composure. You just burned everything. Yes, Han replies. So you can't use it against her. The men murmur, tension spiking. Someone swears under their breath. Kang steps forward, rage barely contained. You chose a child over an empire. Han doesn't flinch. I chose humanity. Kang's lips curl. Then you die with it. He raises his hand. The guns come up. Amara screams Han's name. Han doesn't move. He stands tall, unarmed, unyielding, as the weapons lock onto him. And the first shot finally rings out. The hospital room smells like antiseptic and something faintly metallic. Amara notices it immediately, the way she always notices details when the world slows too suddenly. The beeping of machines settles into a steady rhythm. Curtains hang half-drawn, muting the harsh fluorescent light into something almost gentle. Too gentle for what they're waiting for. Nia sits curled in the plastic chair beside the bed, her legs tucked beneath her, teddy bear clutched to her chest. She hasn't let go of it since the ambulance doors closed hours ago. Her eyes, those impossible golden eyes, are fixed on Han's still form beneath the white sheets. He looks smaller here. Stripped of movement, stripped of command, stripped of the world he once bent around himself. Tubes run from his arms. Bandages wrap his shoulder and chest. A machine breathes softly beside him, its rise and fall mechanical, patient. Nia leans closer. He's sleeping again, she whispers. Amara nods. Yes, baby. Is he dreaming? I don't know. Nia considers this. I hope he dreams about quiet things. Amara's throat tightens. She presses her fingers into the edge of the bed, grounding herself in the chill of the metal rail. She hasn't slept. Every time she closes her eyes, she sees the loading bay, the blood, the moment Han's eyes slipped shut. She doesn't know if she's allowed to feel relieved yet. Footsteps approach softly. A doctor pauses at the doorway, clipboard tucked under one arm. He gives Amara a look she's learned to read, careful, measured, honest without being cruel. He's stable, the doctor says quietly. The bullet missed his lung by centimeters. He lost a lot of blood, but we stopped the bleeding. Amara exhales shakily, a breath she's been holding for hours. Stable means. It means he survived the night, the doctor replies. The next 24 hours matter. Nia looks up. So he's not gone? No, the doctor says gently. He's still here. Nia nods, satisfied. I knew it. The doctor hesitates, then continues. There are other matters. Federal agents will want to speak with him when he wakes. And with you. Amara's shoulders stiffen. About what? The doctor's expression tightens slightly. About everything. After he leaves, silence settles back into the room. Nia swings her legs idly. Mommy? Yes. Is Daddy in trouble? Amara closes her eyes briefly. Yes. Because he did bad things? Yes. Nia frowns, processing. But he stopped the bad man. Yes. And he helped us. Yes. Nia sighs softly. That's confusing. Amara almost laughs. Almost. It is. Nia climbs down from the chair and pads quietly to the bed. She reaches up, small fingers brushing the edge of the blanket, careful not to disturb anything. Daddy, she whispers. If you can hear me. I'm not mad. Amara's chest aches. Nia turns back to her. He said people can choose. Maybe he's choosing now. Amara swallows hard. Maybe. Hours pass slowly. Outside the room, life moves in fragments, voices murmuring, phones ringing, distant footsteps. News trickles in through whispers and glances from agents stationed down the hall. Accounts frozen. Arrests made. Names leaked. The empire didn't just fall. It imploded. An agent finally approaches, her expression professional but not unkind. Ms. Walker, she says quietly. We'll need to talk soon. About Han, Amara replies. And about your daughter, the agent adds. Amara nods. She's not a bargaining chip. The agent meets her gaze. We know. That knowledge offers little comfort. Nia crawls back into her chair, exhaustion finally pulling at her small body. Her eyes droop, but she fights sleep, determined. I'll stay awake, she says stubbornly. Just in case. Amara brushes her hair back gently. You can rest. I'll watch. Nia's eyes flutter. Promise? I promise. Sleep claims her quickly. Her breathing evens out, soft and trusting. Amara watches the two of them, one asleep by exhaustion, one unconscious by sacrifice, and feels the weight of everything settle into her bones. She doesn't know what comes next. She only knows what's been lost. And what almost was. Han stirs sometime later, a faint movement under the sheets. Amara freezes, breath caught. His fingers twitch. His brow furrows slightly. She leans forward. Han? His eyes open slowly, unfocused at first. Pain flickers across his face as awareness returns. He finds her. You stayed, he murmurs hoarsely. Yes, she says. Her voice trembles despite her effort. I stayed. His gaze drifts to Nia, asleep in the chair. Something softens in his expression. She's safe? For now. He exhales carefully. Good. Silence stretches between them, fragile but real. I meant what I said, he whispers. About choosing. Amara nods. I know. Outside the window, dawn begins to creep across the sky, pale and uncertain. A new day presses against the glass, unwelcome and inevitable. Hope flickers quietly in Amara's chest. But it's tempered now. By consequences. By questions. By the knowledge that survival is only the beginning. She takes Han's hand gently, careful of the bandages, and holds on, unsure of what tomorrow will demand, but unwilling to let go just yet. Morning arrives quietly. Not with sunlight pouring in, not with relief or certainty, just a thin gray glow slipping through the hospital blinds, settling across white sheets and muted machines. The city outside exhales after a long night, unaware of how many lives cracked open to let this day exist. Amara is still awake. She sits between two beds now, one official, one improvised. Han lies motionless beneath crisp sheets, his chest rising slowly, stubbornly. Nia sleeps curled on a recliner dragged close, her head resting against Amara's thigh, teddy bear tucked under her chin like a guard. Family, Amara thinks. The word feels unfamiliar. Dangerous. Earned. A soft knock sounds at the door. An agent steps in, older this time, eyes sharp but tired. He nods once, respectful. He'll be transferred later today, he says quietly. Secure facility. Medical wing. Amara stiffens. Prison? Not yet, the agent replies. Cooperation changes things. And her? Amara asks, glancing down at Nia. The agent follows her gaze. She's not being taken from you. Something in Amara loosens, just slightly. Good, she says. The agent hesitates. But she'll never be invisible again. After he leaves, silence returns. Han stirs again, more awake this time. His eyes open fully, finding Amara almost immediately. Awareness sharpens there, not fear, not regret. Acceptance. They're not done with me, he says quietly. No, Amara replies. They never were. He studies Nia, still asleep. She shouldn't have to carry my shadow. Amara exhales slowly. She already carries your eyes. Han closes his eyes briefly at that. When he opens them again, they shine, not with power, not with calculation, but with something raw and human. I used to think control meant protection, he says. I was wrong. Amara nods. I used to think running meant safety. They share a look, an understanding forged not in romance, but in survival. Nia stirs then, blinking sleepily. Mommy? I'm here. She yawns, rubbing her eyes. Then she looks at Han. You're awake, she says matter-of-factly. Yes, he replies softly. Because you waited. She considers that. Good. I don't like when people disappear without saying goodbye. Han swallows. Neither do I. Later, when the paperwork is signed and the questions asked, when guards wait patiently outside the door, Han is helped to sit up. His movements are slow, careful, but deliberate. He looks at Amara one last time before they take him. You don't owe me anything, he says. Amara steps closer. You gave her a future. I took away her anonymity. She was never anonymous, Amara replies. She was just hidden. Han nods, accepting that. Nia steps forward suddenly, small hands clenched. Are you going somewhere? Yes, Han says gently. Far? For a while. She frowns. Are you coming back? The room stills. Han looks at Amara, not asking permission, but acknowledging the truth between them. Then he looks back at Nia. I don't know, he says honestly. But I won't disappear. She studies his face, then nods solemnly. Okay. She pauses. Do I still have your eyes? Han's lips curve faintly. Yes. She smiles, proud. Then you'll always know where to find me. The guards move in then, respectful but firm. As Han is wheeled toward the door, Amara watches him go, not as a king falling from power, not as a criminal dragged into consequence, but as a man walking toward accountability. The door closes softly behind him. Weeks pass. The world changes in headlines and courtrooms. Names surface. Networks dissolve. The empire becomes history faster than anyone expected. Some call Han a monster. Some call him a whistleblower. Some don't know what to call him at all. Amara doesn't watch the news anymore. She watches Nia instead. They walk through another mall one afternoon, not the same one, but close enough that Amara feels the old tension creep into her shoulders. She breathes through it. Lets it pass. Nia skips beside her, laughing, lights flashing in her purple shoes. Mommy, she says suddenly. People keep looking at me. Amara crouches, meeting her gaze. Does it bother you? Nia shrugs. Not really. Why not? She thinks for a moment. Because I know who I am. Amara smiles, a real one this time. They pass a storefront window, their reflections gliding by. Two figures. One tall, steady. One small, bright. Golden eyes catch the light. Amara's phone buzzes. One message. Unknown number. She stops walking. Nia looks up. Mommy? Amara reads the message once. Then again. I kept my promise. Her heart stutters. She types nothing. Sends nothing. Instead, she looks down at her daughter. Let's go home, she says. As they walk away, a man across the atrium lowers his phone, not filming, just watching. He doesn't approach. He doesn't follow. Not yet. The future stretches open, uncertain, unfinished. And somewhere within it, a story waits to be continued.